Hi everyone. So I'm Vanessa from buildingSMART Singapore. And this is my first time joining a call like this. So I guess, you are interested in hearing about the key developments in Singapore.
That's correct, yeah.
All right. Okay, maybe I'll start off with one of the most significant projects that we are working on, which is the Digital Delivery Management Accreditation Scheme. So I'm just going to pull up my screen in just a bit and tell you a little bit more. But basically, because of the issue that, in the Singapore built environment, there's been a very big difficulty in terms of for us to hire and retain talent. So it's been really important for us to have some kind of documentation to show young people, what kind of career they could expect within the built environment. And one of the very exciting spaces is in digital delivery. So in Singapore, there is a program that we have where we accredit people with digital skills. So this is different from the buildingSMART program. I understand we have another program, but perhaps we could see how this program that is applicable to Singapore can be aligned to the buildingSMART international one. So have a look at my screen. All right, so we've got this document called the Skills Framework. This one is done as like a national level mapping of all the skills across different kinds of industries. And we just got one done up for the built environment. And when I mean just, I mean about kind of like 2 to 3 years ago, we've had this information publicized, right? And it talks about things like, what are the careers in this sector? What is the salaries you can expect? Where are the progression pathways? So if you scan the QR code in here, it will take you to a website where you can find more information about the skills framework. And you can have a look at that as I'm taking you through this accreditation scheme. So basically, we are using this framework to provide sort of like a benchmark for procurers, employers, and individuals as well, so that we can benchmark skills for the individuals. And that helps people to make, better decisions about their career progression. And it also helps employers to decide whether the job seeker that they are interviewing has the skills and competencies that they are looking for to perform the job role. So you can see that there are many tracks. This is what the career pathways look like under the skills framework. So there is a blue track for architecture. There's an orange one for engineering, consultancy, and design. That includes civil structural engineering and mechanical electrical engineering as well. And then there's one track for quantity surveying, one for construction management. Actually, there's 2 for construction management. One is for like the production of parts, and the other one is like construction management. And then there's one for project management, facilities management. And you can see right here that we have a track for digital delivery management. So basically, there are 4 tracks that are being certified, and this one is approved at the national level. At the very bottom, we have tier 4, which is assistant specialist or like BIM modeler. And at tier 3, there is a BIM coordinator. At tier 2, there is a BIM manager. And tier 1 is a chief digital officer. So the terms that we are using here is aligned to what's in the skills framework, which is that national framework, right? So there are different roles, as is kind of summarized here. We are assessing people for, the projects that they've participated in and the number of work experience that they have. And from there, we certify them with, a certain set of technical skills and competencies, which is met under our national skills framework, right? So there are some for each tier. So there is a logbook that applicants use to fill in their experience, and then it gets signed off by their supervisor. And thereafter, they go for a skills test. So then they get the accreditation. So that's pretty much what we've been working on in Singapore. that there is this accreditation framework that's specific to Singapore. So I know there is another program ongoing, and I think, as we go forward, I see that, we would like to, begin more discussions about how we can align the national, our Singapore framework to what we've developed internationally at Building Smart international level. Within Singapore, I think it's a very exciting time because there is a lot of government support for using IFC. And in fact, there, in the last 1 to 2 years, there's been, a major announcement that all government submissions will be accepted in IFC, SG, and that there will be automated checkers and such. So various government departments, whether they are, they are looking at landscape or they are looking at water supply, they all will review the same IFC model that's being submitted. So there is some work going on there, and we see that IFC is going to be more important than ever. So one of the things, that we are looking for in these assessments is how well do the applicants know about IFC as well as a submission format. All right, that's our update. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Very interesting. Just a couple of thoughts from me. How engaged with the government are the chapter? So do you have much input or influence in some of the roadmap around IFC and some of these things? I mean, obviously we just heard this news from Finland, but how engaged is the chapter with the government agencies?
I would say, that in Building Smart Singapore, we actually have representation from most government agencies. So we have at least one representative from each government agency, right? But the thing is that, the development in terms of acceptance of the adoption of IFC is moving very quickly in Singapore. So there are many departments working on it. So there are a number of different departments working on it, and there are different teams working on it at the same time. And everything is moving forward, so fast. We've got GovTech, which is like the technology agency of Singapore, working on it together with BCA to form this special group, which they call CornetX. So you can find some information about CornetX. This is public information, by the way, so you can find it. If you Google CornetX, you will find this information, right, about this project, right, where they are accepting all file formats in IFC-SG, right? So it will be like a one-stop integrated digital shopfront where the submission format is IFC. So I think for sure there is a lot of interest in IFC, just that, there is so much development happening at the same time that, not all the representatives of government agencies that are within Building Smart Singapore are involved in these discussions. And I think, we are doing some really exciting work here related to IFC. And I see that, there is a lot of focus on the domestic execution, right? We want to get it right. I see that they want to get it right on the ground, and they are concerned about things like adoption, whether people will be able to adjust. Will there be a lot of complaints about errors with the files and things like that? Yeah. So on that front, I personally, like as ACE PLP, one of the volunteers at Building Smart Singapore, we've also been running training for IFC-SG. So you can see that under industry training, and you can find it like here. Yeah, so you can see, that we've developed, in fact, training programs where, a BIM modeler would be able to export their file formats from Revit to IFC-SG with minimal loss. And that, of course, includes, using a mapping table that has been developed with input on the regulatory requirements. So we have one for Revit, and we also have another one for Tekla as well.
Celine's got a hand up. This is quite in her domain.
Yes.
Sorry.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I joined in late because I was outside. But maybe just to chip in from what Vanessa has mentioned. By the way, I'm William Lau. Okay. One of the main driver for you're right. Initially, IFC is like kind of not on the front line. I mean, as far as our local built environment industry is concerned. But recently, and especially with the coming on of Cornet X, IFC now becomes quite. They feel that it's going to be a key driver, and as we develop that as well, we realize that we have to come up with the IFC SG. It's more of a localized version of the IFC. It's key because we are coming up with, as part of the Cornet X program, there's going to be a model checker. And this model checker basically uses IFC SG as a primary driver. So by doing that, we actually solve the problem of, because there are so many BIM software, so we're using IFC SG as a common standard. And by doing that, we should be able to check the model with minimal data loss. So that's why suddenly, or rather, I would say for the last 1.5 years or so, we're trying to ramp up the, first of all, the acknowledgement of IFC, even the awareness of IFC. So I think right now the industry is getting a note of it. And that's why the service providers like ACE/PLP and all that are coming on to give so-called awareness, including training and all that. Yeah.
I think one really exciting thing on this front, I mean, we are deviating a little from the IFC discussion and just talking about like career progressions for, people in our line of work. I think there's been a lot of interest about how, people who started off their careers in this industry, in this line of work, can then move into other related tracks within the built environment. Like, if I started off my career as a BIM modeler, could I one day be an architect, right? Or could I one day be a mechanical engineer? And if yes, and I think for all of us, we are thinking this is a resounding yes, right? But then in terms of skills upgrading, then what are the additional skills and knowledge I need to have in order to move in that direction, so that I can convince an employer to take me in that track, and then I can progress my career from there. And I think the better that we do this, the easier it is for us to attract young people to join this sector. And I mean, I don't know about the rest of you guys in the other parts of the world, but in Singapore, we are really struggling with talent attraction within our sector. I mean, there is a lot of young people, but they are going to join the banking sector and also the technology sector, which is, of course, much more attractive in terms of pay. So, we've had some difficulty in trying to hire young people as well to grow their career. So I think that, it's something that we are really interested to develop. It's a very fundamental issue. How do we continue to bring young people into our line of work and interest them to stay on?